Welcome back to my channel. It is now week 10 of the NFL season, and in today's video I'm covering the pivotal matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, going into this season, and maybe even 2 or 3 weeks ago, we thought this would be a really close game. But now I am thinking the Eagles will probably blow them out, so if you want my prediction, there it is. But if you want a little more from this video, then keep on watching. So first things first, how are the teams doing? The Eagles, well, you may not think it because the Philly media coverage is, well, the Philly media coverage, but they are 6-2. And since the bye week, the Eagles, in my opinion, have looked like a top 3 team in the NFL, which is why I have them as the number 3 team on my top 10. But they've looked very good since coming back from the bye week, especially on the defensive side of the ball. What went from a bad defense is now a really good defense. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they're just not turning the ball over. That kind of fixed everything. So, Eagles 6-2, half a game behind Washington for first place in the East. The Cowboys, on the other hand, they are 3-5, one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL, and they've got blown out several times, especially at home. And well, this game is in Dallas, so they might get blown out again, but they have not had a good year. And honestly, a lot of Dallas fans think the year's pretty much over at this point, partially because of how bad they've looked on the field, but even more so because of injuries. So now on to the injury section, starting with the Cowboys, because of course Dak Prescott, the most expensive quarterback in the NFL, the $60 million per year man, is now out for a while. He's probably going to go on to IR because he had a hamstring injury. And no, he did not just pull his hamstring. It's a serious hamstring injury where it seems it was at least partially torn off the bone. So I don't know. I don't think you can play with that, and it is likely that he's going to get surgery. So he's out for a while. And with a team that is 3-5, that probably means your team's dead. Because unless Cooper Rush can figure something out in a tough upcoming Cowboys schedule, they're kind of out of hope. And that's not the only injury. Micah Parsons has been out for a while, but he is actually coming back this week. That should make a big difference for their defense. And Lawrence, their other defensive end, is on the IR currently. He will be out as well. Also have a few other random players like Brandon Cooks on IR. They're not the most healthy team out there. They're not doing good at all. Then on the Eagles side of the ball, actually looking fairly healthy-ish. The big news was A.J. Brown. He went out the second half of last week against the Jaguars with a hurt knee. But noticeably, he just didn't really come back in after halftime. There wasn't really a play where it looked like he got hurt. And he did have a limited practice on Thursday, so it is looking hopeful that he will play. However, they may rest him with a big game the following Thursday at Washington. There's a few other injuries as well. Jordan Mailata, this is the last week that he has to be out on IR. Hopefully he will come back against Washington. And then Nolan Smith and Devontae Smith did not practice on Wednesday, but they did practice limited on Thursday. So they appear to be likely to play. So overall, the Eagles are a little banged up, but it seems like pretty much everybody should be playing other than Mailata. So now getting into my further analysis, this essentially is a healthy, up-and-coming Eagles team versus a beaten-down, bad Cowboys team. In all seriousness, I once again think this game should not be close, but the Eagles do love to make games close, so I will break it down. So starting with the Eagles offense, and more importantly, starting with the Eagles passing game. Well, actually, no. Now I will start with the rushing game, because the Eagles offense is a rush-first offense. Actually, this year, they have ran the ball more than they have passed the ball. They are the only team in the NFL to do so. Even the Ravens haven't done that. So the Eagles are about 51% run and 49% pass. Extremely rare in the current NFL, but Saquon Barkely has looked amazing. He is actually on the same pace, roughly, as Derrick Henry for the year, but he's played one less game, so he has 125 less yards. But on a per-game basis, him and Derrick Henry are playing roughly the same. He just hasn't got any of the credit. Although with the amazing best play I've ever seen, backwards hurdle, maybe he's going to start getting some more coverage as the best running back in the NFL, which I think he has been this year. The Eagles' offensive line, in addition, is an excellent run blocking team, even though they don't have Mailata, probably their best run blocker, but still, it's an amazing running team. It's what they do great. They have 175 rushing yards per game. So, what does Dallas have to say about this? Well, Dallas is actually a bad rushing defense. They allow 150 rushing yards per game, and a few years ago, their defensive tackle that they drafted, Mozzie Smith, who's supposed to be the star run game defender, has been absolutely terrible this year. This all sets up for the Eagles just to run the ball down the Cowboys' throat and maybe let Will Shipley or Kenny Gainwell actually get some rushes in the fourth quarter. On the passing side of the ball, so Jalen Hurts has been exactly what he has needed to be. He hasn't turned the ball over. He hasn't been throwing the ball that much, just about 20 times per game the past several weeks. But when there's a big play that needs to be made, he has been making it. And, well, what can you say? They've done really well. So, sure, he's not putting up MVP numbers right now, but if he started the year this way, he would definitely be in the conversation. Since the bye week, he's been excellent, and this does coincide with him getting his weapons back. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, of course, the best duo in the NFL. And then finally, Dallas Cowboys is likely to come back this week. Huge addition for the Eagles offense. Cowboys defense, is it good against the pass? It's okay. They've allowed 217 passing yards per game. They only have 18 sacks on the year. It just hasn't been a good defense. It's tough to say much else. This is not the traditional Cowboys defense from a few years ago that's good. It's just not. So I don't see any reason why the Eagles can't put 30 points up on them without that much difficulty. On the other side, if you enjoyed the video so far, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. But back to the video. So now for the Cowboys offense versus the Eagles defense. Have to cover it, but it is not pretty. So Cooper Rush is the Cowboys quarterback. He is 5-1 in his career. However, those were all games where they had a really good rushing attack and they had a really good defense. They don't have either right now, so we'll see how it works out for him. But anyways, start with Cooper Rush. Yes, he's a career backup. He's a decent career backup, but he's not Dak Prescott. He's not good enough to start in the NFL, or he would be starting in the NFL. Or at least, I don't know, maybe the Raiders would have signed him a few years ago and given him a chance, but clearly no one's even given him a chance. But as far as backup quarterbacks go, maybe a top 10 backup, but clearly not a starter. Who's he going to throw the ball to? Well, of course it's CeeDee Lamb. I didn't mention him in the injury section, but he is a little hurt. He's likely to play, and he is the Cowboys offense. That he'll be matched up probably against Quinyon Mitchell, it seems, and Quinyon Mitchell has been excellent this year. If not him, then Cooper DeJean, because CeeDee Lamb does line up in the slot more than he lines up outside, and that is where Cooper DeJean lives. So this will be an interesting matchup, rookie versus all-pro wide receiver. However, I just don't think the quarterback's good enough to support it. They do have a decent tight end, and that's it. This offense is bad. For the rushing game, I guess. And then the Eagles' pass rush has looked okay. They have a little over 20. They have 22 sacks on the year. It's kind of come in spurts against really most. It has not been a consistent pass rush or a good pass rush, but it's been an okay pass rush, supported by really strong corners. Not the typical Eagles style, but it does work. It's what New England did for a long time. Then finally, the rushing game. The Cowboys notably have the worst rushing game in the NFL. Starting running back Rico Dowdle has 71 carries, 321 yards, and that is roughly a third of what Saquan Barkely has. So, it's just terrible. And going into the year, I knew, and everyone knew, that they had one of the worst running games in the NFL because they didn't really have a running back. And it has been very, very predictable. They only have 82 rushing yards per game. It's less than half of what the Eagles have per game. And then, how is the Eagles' rushing defense? And it started the year very bad. But once again, since the bye week, since Cooper DeJean went in there, since the linebackers have improved, since the defensive line has become, not bad, since it's become decent, the rushing game, or the rushing defense, has actually been pretty good, holding teams to 100 rushing yards per game, which is slightly above average. So, of course, as you can tell, I think the Eagles are going to dominate this game. The more talented team at this point due to injuries, and they're the hotter team, and it's in Dallas, and Dallas has been playing bad there. Vegas agrees. They have a 75% chance of the Eagles winning. But what could go wrong? What could go wrong for the Eagles? How could Dallas win? It's two things. One, CeeDee Lamb goes nuclear, gets maybe 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, maybe 3 touchdowns, maybe 4, I don't know, but he needs to go crazy for the Cowboys to have a chance. And then the second thing is that Jalen Hurts or the Eagles offense of some sorts needs to turn the ball over, probably multiple times. And then finally, the third thing is the Cowboys have one of the best kick returners in the NFL, and punt returners, I think he does both. And a special teams touchdown could swing the momentum to their side, like that false fumble touchdown in the Jacksonville did for the Jaguars. But anyways, that's kind of my coverage. Of course, as you can tell, I don't think this game will be close. I'm feeling confident. I think might not even have to watch the second half, but I do have to warn you, if you're an Eagles fan, you probably know this, but the Eagles love to make close games when they should be blowouts. So it is the NFL. Anything could happen. But thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you later.